Salam, Assalamu alaikum, and a pleasant good evening to one and all. Welcome to the series entitled Unite and Inspire, a program designed to inspire, unite, and uplift spiritual aspirants on the road to self-discovery. Tonight we launch the first episode in this divine series. We are happy, thrilled, and excited to have the President of the Sri Satya Sai Baba Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Vinti Mohip, as our special guest. Sister Vinti is a Fellow of the Association of Chartered and Certified Accountants. She is retired and has been a manager in the Internal Audit Department in Petrotrin, oil company in Trinidad, for the last 24 years. A member of the Sai organization for over 35 years. President of the Sri Satya Sai Baba Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, 2 years and continuing. Vice President for a period of 4 years. She has been a center chairman for 4 years and a dedicated SSE teacher for 4 years. Madam President, welcome to this very special program, Unite and Inspire, our first episode. And our first question to you this evening is, how have you come into contact with Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba? Kindly share that experience you have had.
Loving Sai Ram to all, and my humble pranams are the lotus feet of our Divine Master, our Guru, our God, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Brother Faiz, I'd like to commend you on this wonderful initiative that you have started, and I do believe, as the program says, it will unite and it will inspire many. This is the way we have to go now as we are in a pandemic, so I'm really happy to be part of this first program. Your question is, how did I come into contact with Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba? Sai Baba is God. I have been in contact with God my entire life. Being born in a Sanatanist home, we were exposed to many aspects of God. My parents, Chandra Devanarayan Maharaj, Sita, from little, we've been going to the temple in Todd Street in San Fernando. During my school days, however, Geeta Sao, she introduced me to Baba by taking me to my first Sai Satsang. This was in the long time days in the 1970s, and this was held under a home. And I remember being impressed and inspired by what was going on, because the singing was what we were familiar with doing in the temple, chanting the name of God in many forms. And I was really energized by the clapping and impressed. So as a young girl, I found that this was something that is something good, you know. So that was really my first encounter with Baba. And after that, in the temple, we would be singing those songs as well, because whenever someone starts to learn to sing, the first thing they can learn is a chant. So those songs were, very familiar, very easy to come by, and that's how come, I continued learning the Sai Bhajans. That was the first, attraction really. So that's really how I first came in contact with Baba.
Madam President, thank you very much for sharing. And our second question is, can you share 2 of the most memorable experiences you've had with Mother Sai over the years?
So, Brother Faiz, the thing about it is, when you asked me this now, when I came into the Sai fold, so to speak, I got married into a family that where Sai was the anchor and the rock. My in-laws, Mr. and Mrs. Mohip, God rest their souls, they have passed on. But I was in direct contact with devotees who are so pure in their intent and who really believe and shared with me that Baba is God. I was part of that family, and being part of that family, there's a Sai Center in the home. It's Gasparilla Sai Center. So from that perspective, I was continuously exposed to teachings of Sai organization. My father-in-law was a member of Central Council at the time. So organization was something that was really part of my initiation and introduction to Sai. It's really difficult to identify experiences with Baba because on a daily basis you find that things happen in your life which you attribute to divine inspiration and divine help. Daily, any ideas that come to me as president, I see it as coming from him. And the most important thing is that when these ideas come, he also sends people to execute them. So all I have to do is just formulate the idea, which comes from him, and then he sends people to execute. So to me, that is the biggest experience in, as being president. I mean, I just had the idea of initiating the banyan tree, a stem of which came from Prashanti. And I said, we have this tree, it has grown. We did do an initiation of it, but let's do something big around this tree. Let's make it into a meditation center, a portal. And as soon as I had the idea and I shared it with one devotee, she said, I will do this project for you, President. I said, okay, thank you. And that very night she had a dream where Baba came to her and said, I bless this project. And that was really amazing to me. So I think about doing a support group for the women, and our National Mahila is a psychotherapist, and she said, okay, I will do this project for you. And we started to bring the women together. I think in the Sai organization, this is something that is missing, where people have issues, but they have no one to really talk with in a professional way. So as soon as I have these ideas, he just sends people to do the work. So I may be looking good, but it's really he's doing the work. And these are miracles for me. Every time we do something with a pure heart, he really comes and takes it over, because it's something that he wants us to do. So at the start of my work as president, you know the story, everyone knows the story. I decided I wasn't going to be able to take the position because I was fully employed as a manager in an audit in Petrotrin. However, so that being available, so there are 4 qualities: availability, accountability, affability, and ability. And one which I think I would not have been able to do was availability. So I said, Brother Faiz, I don't think I can do this because I can't get time off to be everywhere all the time like I've seen presidents have to do. And but then somehow when Dr. Reddy came to Trinidad, I was inspired and I said, look, he is an internal medicinist. He takes the time to run the world. Who am I? I can run Trinidad. Maybe I will get the time. He will give me the time. So I had a change of heart, and when that happened, the very day I had to accept the position as president was the very day that my company closed its doors. So I had a very early retirement, thank God to Swami. He actually provided for me for the 2 years that I would have gone to retirement, so that I didn't need to work, and I am doing his work.
Madam President, thank you so much for sharing. It's really, really wonderful and soulful and inspiring to listen to your journey and to share those wonderful experiences. How has, Madam President, you've been in the organization for over 34 years, how has practicing the teachings of Sri Satya Sai Baba impacted and transformed your life? Because when you look at what Swami has done throughout the world, I think his greatest miracle is the miracle of inner transformation. How has that happened in your life, in your journey?
Well, Brother Faiz, this is a difficult question, but first of all, to be a true devotee of Sai is a continuous process. And as long as we appreciate that, we can't be in a hurry to get to the destination, right? Swami says, I am the goal, I am the guide. And Sai represents love. So, from a point of view of transformation, he says, love all, serve all. We have to have that total, non-judgmental way about us. We have to be in a form where we cannot ever look at someone and say, oh, you are on the path, but you are behaving in this manner. We have to always appreciate, and I think you learn daily that you must, never look at anyone's journey and judge. So the first thing I try to be is non-judgmental, because that is what is causing the whole problems in the world right now. Everyone is different. Everyone is in a different way, in a different path. The whole aim of the organization is for us to have love, 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 serve, serve, serve. That's all Swami tells us. Love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. And service, doing service, he says, really transforms you. We have started a service center in San Fernando. People are coming, and as I said before, anything you start, he sends the people to do the work. So, with regards to the service, everyone wants to come and serve there. And when you serve, you feel so good about it, because Baba says when you serve, you forget yourself. So sometimes you go there, you may have a little issue that's bothering you. When you dive into it, now service does not mean just giving a monetary contribution. It really means doing the work. When you really dive into the work, then you forget about every little thing. Sometimes you meet people who have worse issues than you, worse problems than you. And then you go home and you think, wait now, what's my problem? I have no problems. I am very happy. I have so much going for me. I am fortunate, Brother Faiz, that my entire family, they are Sai devotees, they believe. There are many who are devotees, but they don't have that support in terms of family. I have a very good family support in the organization. My husband, my children, they all come together with me to do the work. Plus, I have a very good and committed council team. So, as devotees, Baba gives us three things: divine blessings, divine grace, and divine will. These are the boons that he gives to us. And I think as devotees, we have to keep transforming all the time, but we have to know where we have to be continuing to make that personal effort. And with that personal effort will come the grace. So I believe as a devotee, to keep on transforming, you have to keep on trying. You have to keep on making that effort. And you can never stop making that personal effort, because personal effort draws divine grace. And divine grace strengthens personal effort. So when people think that, listen, I have reached a point where, I can sit back and relax. You can never sit back and relax. As a spiritual aspirant, you keep getting thrown difficulties all the time. You keep getting tested all the time. You keep getting trials and tribulations. But what I have learned and what has helped me to transform is always offering everything to Him. You have to have that constant awareness that God is in charge of everything in your life. Recently, they sent out the mantra for preparation of the Aradhana, and the mantra is 5 letters, God is. Godis, God is. So we had a discussion last night in our study circle. What does that mean? And it really means that God is everything. You can't ever forget that. So every waking, breathing moment, every thought, every word, every deed you have should be permeated by God is. You get up, something is not going right, God is. Something goes great, you see a beautiful flower, God is. So this mantra, you don't have to learn powerful Hindi mantras which you may not understand the meaning of. Baba says that when you say something, you really have to say it with the true meaning. God is, you can say without even understanding or going into depth, because you see something good, you say God is. You see something bad, well, God is, because God is responsible for that. So you can add on to that mantra whatever you feel. So I like that. And So I think transformation means following the 9-point code of conduct. Transformation means daily you should reach out, you should have that awareness of God, that consciousness. Transformation is you get up, you read something positive, study silent literature. What is silent literature? Silent literature is any good work. You study a word from the Quran, a word from the Gita, a word from the Bible. It's all God's work. So transformation means everything you do, everything you see, every thought, word, and deed should be in unison. It should be that you should not be thinking anything negative about someone, but saying something sweetly to someone. Swami says when we speak, sometimes if we have something to say, if it is unpleasant, we shouldn't say it. We should avoid saying it, even if it is the truth. So these are things we learn on a daily basis. Transformation means accepting everyone, whatever their faith is, however they are born, whatever they do as a reality, as part of God interaction with you, as His interaction with you. Everyone you come into contact with is part of your karmic journey, and you can never negate that. You can never negate that whatever comes to you comes straight from Him. You just have to accept it, knowing that He is that great master that is giving you. He is the giver of your karma, and He is the one who will help you through this. But if you thrust it on Him, if you surrender to Him, if you say, Thy will be done, if you say, Lord, I thank you for you have taken everything in your hands, and you will resolve this for my highest good, if you really believe that, then you will certainly be living a life of equanimity. Baba, recently I was looking at a message and he said, what is samadhi, right? Everybody wants to attain samadhi. And he says samadhi is just equanimity of the intellect. So sama and he is your buddhi. So he said, what is samadhi? It means that you accept good and bad, right? And everything is the same. So basically, what is transformation? First God, then the world, and then I. You have to put God first in everything, and then you put the world before you. So it is really being selfless, having that love, having that unconditional love. And people don't know that term unconditional love because we tend to limit it to just our close relatives, our family members, and so on. But that unconditional love really has to go to animals, it has to go to plants, it has to go to everyone you come into contact with. You are serving someone, you see God in them. That's the transformation, and that's the place where we all have to be. And as I said, we are all work in progress. We are all on a journey, and we cannot judge anyone's journey. We cannot judge where anyone has reached. We just have to be there to support them. As leaders, as office bearers, we have to be there to also set that example for them. So we cannot really say something and then do something different. So basically, we are all God, as Baba says, and we have to try to reach that position. But it is a daily battle. And as Lord Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, think of me and fight. So I don't know if I've answered what you really want.
Very, very, very much so, Madam President. And it leads me, Madam President, to the next question. Swami has said, if you're a Muslim, be a good Muslim. If you're a Hindu, be a good Hindu. If you're a Christian, be a good Christian. Our organization is Sarva Dharma. It's all-inclusive. It incorporates, it accepts, it validates all the different faiths, because Swami says, all names are mine and all forms are mine. However, when you look at the perception, the misconception that some people have in the society is that this is an Indian organization and a Hindu organization. But when you look at what Swami has said, let the different faiths exist, let them flourish, let the glory of God be sung in all the languages in a variety of tunes. We see that universality of Swami's message. You as the president in the organization and being involved in the organization, but more so in the capacity of the president, how has the organization now been able to translate that message of universality into practice to fulfill that Sarva Dharma effect?
So, Brother Faiz, our headquarters, at our headquarters, we have to set the trend. We have a beautiful building in the Sinai Layam. We have all the symbols of all the religions represented there. And I know in Trinidad we have a challenge, as well as the world, in trying to change the perception of persons that we are another Hindu organization. So I've been visiting centers, and as we visited centers, the first thing, of course, the center is really the nucleus of the organization. We can't have an organization if we don't have proper functioning centers. So these concepts of unity of faiths and so on have to start within the centers. So we've been visiting the centers, and if we notice that there is a predominance of one particular religion, we don't stop that. However, we will say, add to your altar different faiths.
Yeah.
So that when persons of a different religion walks in, they can feel comfortable to come and worship with the devotees of that center. A center is supposed to be a place where anyone can feel comfortable to walk in and practice what they know. So one of the other things is that each satsang that is conducted should have a variety of songs. So we are encouraging that in all the centers. We have started monthly satsangs at the Sinai Layam. Now we are in a pandemic, we are in COVID-19. So we are not looking for numbers anymore, but we are looking for quality. We're looking for small focus groups to come to different programs. So at the Sinai Layam, we've started a monthly satsangs where it's being done by a region. And I have just set out some guidelines for those satsangs, that they must be multi-faith. They must have involved members from all the different centers in the region and so on. So setting that trend there at the Sinai Layam, every time we do national programs, we ensure that we cover, we have everything covered. We started our year with a Unity of Faiths program where we invited a Muslim brother to come and share, someone from the Baptist faith, Christian. We invited a Hindu person to come and share. And they were all very much impressed by what the Sai organization is doing, because they firmly believe that this is the way to go forward. In Trinidad, we are very cosmopolitan, and we have very good, places of worship. We also have no hindrance to worship whatever form of God we perceive, him to be, right? I mean, I met an Indonesian lady and she said this place is so good because she can worship freely,
Yes.
put her mat down. We have people in stalls. We go to a Muslim stall, the person is praying during the day, and we have our country, Trinidad, so cosmopolitan, is the ideal place for an organization like Sai organization to flourish, because we are very tolerant of each other. So in the Sai organization, we are really trying to do more interfaith services. I have asked all the regions to do an interfaith service. It could be an interfaith walk or whatever. Of course, bearing in mind all COVID-19 protocols. I've asked all regions to do an interfaith service where you reach out to the people in the community and you get them to come and speak, and then they will know what we are about. So I have joined recently Shagonas. There's a group called Shagonas Multi-Faith Group. They asked me to be a part of it. I'm happy because people are now seeing the value of really embracing all as one, So I think that is what we are really trying to do in the organization, to have more awareness. We have programs for all the festivals. We have programs for Easter. We have programs for Eid. We have programs for Diwali. Every possible religion, Baptist Day, there are centers. I know St. Helena, they celebrate Shouter Baptist Day. So in each place, they have to show persons within their community that they are reaching out to everyone, and that they can find a place where they can feel comfortable to worship.
And you know, Madam President, when you look at the Sarva Dharma symbol of the organization, you see the symbol of Islam, the symbol of Christianity, the symbol of Judaism, Hinduism, and they all have equal validity and significance.
Yes.
None is being portrayed as better or greater or more influential.
Yes.
And so I guess but I feel strongly that as members of the organization, we need to also manifest that excellence in all the religions, knowing that each one, practice with humility and sincerity, will take you to the goal. But as Swami has also said, it's good to be born in the religion, but don't die in it. Because when you begin to transcend the religion, now the core Swami's teaching is, as you said, God is.
And God is.
God is. So he's not Muslim, he's not Christian, he's not Hindu. Those are things attached to the body, or we've grown up. What color is the Atma? What religion is the Atma? So when we are able to move beyond those physical differences and identify with who we truly are, that to me is what true universality is.
Correct. And I would like to see the international organization focus more on those other religions, because we have 24-hour chanting for Shivratri.
Yes.
Why can't we do a wonderful program for Easter?
Yes.
Right? I know we did one for Christmas, but Easter is also a very, very significant event in the Christian calendar. And when I go to the centers, I try to tell them it must not be a form of tokenism where you're just going to sing one song and say, well, that's it for, we've covered the Muslim, we've covered the Hindu, the Christian, and so on. It has to be, they have to really feel it. I mean, I went to a Catholic school, and when I used to go to the Mass, I used to actually feel that connection with Jesus Christ, because this is God. I mean, God is beyond these forms. Swami came in a form for us to really be able to see him walking and behaving like a human being. So we will know that whatever he has shown us as an exemplar, we can follow. But we cannot just have that tokenism for the other religions. Because we are born a Hindu, I mean, I was born a Sanatanist Hindu, but when I was doing my prayers in the temple, I would think of Jesus also. I would think of a song in my Catholic church that is offering something to God, because that is what I understand. We speak English in this country, but yet most of our songs are Hindi songs. So we have to now try to move into, I'm not saying give up the Hindi songs, they are beautiful, but we have to try to move into the other realms, and when we move into the other realms, then you'll appreciate it more. When I sing a hymn, I really feel that connection with God. It doesn't mean that I have given up Ganesh and gone to Jesus. It's not like that. It's feeling that connection with that formless, where we have to be. How can we? Someone told me, I don't feel the same connection if I sing my Hindi songs compared to singing a hymn. Well, how can you feel it if you don't do it? You have to. We are in a period of Lent. Have your study circles understanding what Jesus Christ taught. He taught the same love that Swami came to teach us. He taught the same everything that Swami is teaching us. He is one, all are one. So that's the whole thing. We have to always have that in our minds and our hearts.
And I think an important point you made is that whatever we have, if it's one in more dominance to a particular religion, let's just add on.
Yes.
We're not taking away, but adding on to reflect that universality. And then when you look at I think in Trinidad we are really blessed, because we have a mosque, a temple, a church could be in one village and in unity, worshiping together without any conflict, without any war.
Yes.
And now you have a Sai Baba centers, we have about 40 throughout the country, and groups that are now adding and supplementing and supporting that universality. And I think, as one devotee said, Trinidad and Tobago really can reflect what the true Sai belief and practice
Yes.
should be. And when you look into our centers, Madam President, I know you've been very instrumental in this, is that, we sing bhajans, qasidas, hymns. The altar has a variety of pictures. We do the opening prayers, etc. The message,
Yeah.
depending on the occasion, is very universal. So when we look at Trinidad, maybe you could talk a little bit more now about Trinidad in respect to the activities of the organization, the universality of it. I know we've been very much involved in so many things. Share a little bit about the Trinidad and Tobago experience where organization is concerned.
So, as you were speaking about the universality, do you know at our Sinai Liam now, when you are there at a certain time of the day, you do hear the call to Azan because there is a mosque in close proximity, and our countries now have to be our Prashanti Nilayam, because how many people can travel now and go to Prashanti Nilayam, right? And we are given that golden opportunity to have Prashanti Nilayam here. We have a beautiful, our central headquarters is beautiful. Now you're seeing some of the activities that we are doing. So what has happened because of COVID-19, as I said before, activities are pretty much restricted. So numbers are restricted. So what we've been doing is having regular programs at the Sinai Line, but each program has different focus groups. So we started doing Rudram chanting because, as I say, Rudram chanting is for healing and for peace in the world. Baba did that Ati Rudram Mahayagna.
Yes.
So there are many devotees who have approached me and said, can we come and do Rudram chanting under the banyan tree? Sure, come and do it. But let's go to all the regions now and do it. So everyone, there's a revitalization of these programs. When we are doing the programs, there aren't very many people. If you have 10 or 20 or 30 people, that's enough. You social distance, you wear your mask. But these focus groups of different pockets of persons all over will be doing it. The organization is not only about satsang. It is about seva. It is about study circles, right? Now, the international organization has been so instrumental now in bringing the whole world organization together by doing programs together, 24-hour chanting and so on. We encourage all devotees in the country to do it. What has been happening during COVID also, we've had a lot of centers doing Zoom satsangs. When they're doing Zoom satsangs now, not only their center tap in, people go Facebook Live with their satsangs. We do it in Gasparilla.
Yes.
St. Helena does Zoom satsangs. People from all over the world can tap into our satsangs. So that is happening a lot. Service projects we've been doing a lot too, and of course trying to maintain that COVID protocol. We've started recently in San Fernando. We've been given a lovely building to do. It's like I'm calling it the Seva and Spiritual Center South. So here it is, we do weekly feeding of not only the homeless, but of anyone who might be hungry. So we've reached out to the Blind Welfare Association. We are giving them meals now. We are going to give the Home for the Aged meals. We are going to give children's homes meals. Recently, just yesterday, a family came forward and said they needed meals. So that way, we are helping and serving all the time. So I am trying to really get people to know that being a Sai devotee is not only about just attending satsang. There's so much more that can be done. Study circles are very important because that is the second in the 9-point code of conduct where Baba says regular study of Sai literature. But it doesn't have to be you have to study anything complicated. You just take one paragraph. So even at our service center now, we bring a paragraph and say, let's talk about this today, right? What do you think of this? And you're asking everybody, they're doing the seva, but they're also thinking now, hey, you know what? What are we doing? What does this mean? What does God is mean? And everybody will have their different opinion. But of course, you will have Swami giving what is the real meaning of things. So we've been doing a lot of work. We have a women's support group, and that will be extended to the entire organization. I plan to do, so I have a core group of ladies who are now trained to do support. So we received training from a professional, because when you are going out there to provide support, you have to really know what you are doing. So we had some a core group training. Now I want to move this to all the different centers. So these core people will go to the centers and try to involve different people in the training. When people know they can speak to someone, the most important thing about this group is that whatever is shared has to be confidential. So the persons who have to be part of this group have to really swear an allegiance of that kind of thing, because the whole dynamic of the group will break down if something is shared with others. So there are certain things that you have to know when you are doing certain skill sets that you have to have. Whoever has any skill set, we need a lot of skill set in media. I would like people to come forward and share.
Yes.
And now we can do a lot of training online. Training doesn't have to be face-to-face anymore. Everything that is being done now, I think COVID-19 has really upended our worlds, but it has really inspired us to do things differently, where we're reaching so many more people than before. So the organization has taken off. The organization has come together in a much more collaborative way, where we are participating. We recently participated in the Mahashivratri offering.
Yes.
We got devotees from the country. We did our taping. We saw ourselves in part. So we are now part of an international stage. People are happy to come and do things. They are going on YouTube. They are seeing their children doing things in our EHV. It has taken off, where we are starting a lot of community EHV now. We are doing Zoom classes now for Balvikas.
Yes.
So there's so much happening. People just have to tap into what they really want to be part of. And it doesn't just have to be one thing. You can be part of the whole, but you can gradually start by being part of what you have a passion for and what you like to be part of.
Madam President, let's chat a little bit about the schools and the education wing of the organization. I know we have had the SSE, ECCE centers. We've gotten government assistance, national status. Can you talk a little bit about that, and in relation to why has these schools been formed, and why are we focusing on the smallest or youngest children in the nation? What is the purpose of the Satyasai schools, the SSE, the Balvikas, etc.?
So the schools really are to provide values-based education. If we don't infuse values in the curriculum, if we don't ensure that the children come out with that values base, then we will be just like any other school. So we have the ECC schools that within the curriculum, the Science Institute of Education, West Indies, Mrs. Kunti Mathura, she's very, very prominent in providing that kind of guidance for the teachers. So because we are government assisted, we have to really go along with the syllabus of the ministry. But the difference is that if we are teaching a lesson, we infuse the values in the lessons. Now the international organization has been offering a lot of values-based courses as well. The ISSE has been offering that. There's Values Transform website and so on. So in addition to doing the actual infusion of the values, we allow our teachers to be part of those training sessions, which are online, and they can see and share that with the children. Now, online teaching has become a challenge for many. It is even a challenge for children, because children are now forced to sit behind a monitor for such a long time. So it's really, something that hopefully we will go back to normal soon. But at the end of the day, the infusion of the values is something which is really going to make a difference in the community, because we've had children, especially in some of our schools, most of the children are from communities that suffer violence, that are one parent, child and so on. So you find that when that happens, the child comes there and they really need that support. So with the schools, we also reach out to the families to help them, with SEVA activities. And we are trying to bring in, we had a program where we had adopted communities, and where we try to bring in the parents to the schools. And we've seen transformation in parents too. But when the children come to the school, because we promote a certain behavior that should permeate the children. And when they go home, they actually correct their parents, and that way, that is how the values-based training will affect persons.
I think you made such an important point, because when you look at the character development of the children that is being emphasized together with the academics, I've heard and I've been privy to parents sharing, because as Swami said, character development is like the three-legged stool. You have the child, the teacher, and the parent. And if the parents are not active participants, the whole thing can fall flat.
Yes.
And I remember in our Takarigo school, some of the parents were sharing that their children, when they learn silence sitting in the class or prayers before meals, and they go home, and that is not being practiced in the home, the little child will say, "Mommy, you have to say prayers before meals. Mommy, it's time for silent sitting." And so the parents now are now encouraged to sit with the children and participate. And the old saying, the family that prays together stays together. So when you look, Madam President, as you've described so beautifully, the role of education and the role of the Satyasai education where character development is concerned, as Baba says, this is the Veda of the 21st century. This is what is going to cause worldwide transformation, starting with the smallest. I'm really happy to see that happening in our schools. Share a little bit. I know you shared about this banyan tree that was planted by one of Baba's students in the Sai Nilayam, how it has evolved to where it is, and what are some of the activities and benefits you think that will accrue from activities, and also the symbolism of the tree itself as one similar in Prashanti Nilayam.
Yes, well, it's not similar to Prashanti Nilayam. It is a stem from the tree in Prashanti Nilayam. So with that, I mean, just having that piece of Prashanti Nilayam in Trinidad is so important. So our beautiful banyan tree at the Sai Nilayam, our headquarters, as I said before, that stem came from Prashanti Nilayam, and I'm very grateful to Brother Abhimanyu for bringing it and actually planting it. And he actually did a ceremony when he planted it. So the tree grew into a beautiful tree now. And the thought came to me, wait, now let's do something nice around it. And as I said before, a devotee came forward and helped with the landscaping. As soon as that was done, a lot of attraction, it started to pull a lot of devotees. In fact, the devotee also dreamt that, some old persons were on the tree, and they said to her, this tree is not only for Trinidad, but it is for the entire world, and that persons, saints and sages will be on the tree, and that was such a powerful dream. So we initiated a tree. We got Swami Prakashananda to come from the Chinmaya mission, and we initiated a tree as a meditation portal, because we felt that with all these powerful dreams, and then Swami always talks about the Vatavriksha Pratishta Pakaya Namaha in that number 97 in the 108 names, about the power of these trees, that it will draw persons who are at a particular state of meditation. So we've had under that tree, we've done Rudram chanting. The young adults have come. They've done some chanting. They did a Mahashivratri offering under the tree. And many miracles happened there. For instance, one day we were doing a Rudram, and we saw an image appearing as if it was Swami's image on the wall, but it was Swami playing with the sunshine. But it was really beautiful. The person who took the picture did not notice it, because we were saying, oh, why didn't you share that you saw this? We didn't see it until the picture was taken and shared. Then we noticed on the wall Swami's blessings. A lot of times when we plan program under the tree, we have to say, okay, if it rains, we have to move. It has happened where it has drizzled and stopped. So we never had to move. Any program we plan under the tree always turns out to be beautiful. We like to do it very early in the morning, because then you hear the birds chirping and you feel like you're really in Prashanti. And many people came up to me and say, thank you You've brought Prashanti to us and so on. People who can't go anymore and so on. We can't go. So it's really a beautiful feeling. We are going to get a Buddhist group to come and actually do something under the tree with a Buddha statue. So we are trying to make it a very universal place for anyone to come. I would like to do, like if it's Janmashtami, we have the Hare Krishna group right around the corner from the Sani Lion. I will invite them to come and do some singing around the tree. When it's Easter, we will do some hymns around the tree. So Christmas time, we did a candlelight walk around the tree. So it's a very nice place to be. It's outdoor, so it's COVID friendly. We have a lot of space, we have bench. So the whole ambience is really drawing many people who want to really come there and be part of it. So I think it will draw a lot of devotees back to the Sai organization.
Madam President, thank you so much. That is so inspiring. And I've had the privilege to be there, and you could really feel a difference in the vibration and the energy of Swami. Finally, Madam President, what advice can you give to others out there? Because Swami has said that there can be no real transformation until the society transforms. What advice can you give individuals out there as to what we can do to contribute to creating a better, a more value-based society?
The whole thing is, everything begins with you. So the transformation has to start from the individuals, then it has to move to the family, and then it has to move to the society. I can't give advice to the society if I myself am not changing myself. So the whole advice, one can give is that you have to start by trying to improve yourself gradually by doing little basic sadhanas, by doing, little prayers, as I say, always remember that you are not in control, that there's some higher power guiding and guarding you. So trying to practice the 9-point code of conduct, speaking softly and lovingly, simple things that Baba teaches us, we have to try to put that into practice for ourselves. Then we have to try with our family members to have that unity. There are many people who don't have unity in your family, but they want to create unity outside. You can't do that. You have to do, and then you can share, then you can tell. So the important thing is, the living presence of God in all beings is the source of the inherent dignity and equal worth of every human being. And we always have to remember that Swami came to make us realize that God that exists within us exists within everyone. So the only way that you can do that is by having that unconditional love. You have to, as I said, not judge anyone wherever they are. So the advice I would like to really share is practicing basic human values as a start. Love, truth, peace, right conduct, non-violence. Then you can move on to higher things, higher practices. But the basic advice I want to give is that mantra that Baba says, love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. If you just practice that in your daily life, every thought you have, it will not be a hurtful thought to anyone. Every thought you have will be one to help others. And if you can't help, Baba says, don't hurt. So this mantra that he gives, love all, serve all, it is all. It is all human beings, all animals, all plants, everyone you come into contact with, even beings that may be surrounding us, we send love to them, especially to the negative, what we consider negative. Someone may come into our lives and it may be considered a negative person, but all you have to do is to send love and light to them. And that love, Dr. Wayne Dyer was saying, when he walked into a room with Mother Teresa, he immediately felt uplifted. In that same way, we as Sai beacons, as Sai devotees, we have to uplift others with our presence. Just by walking into a room, we have to make people feel good. We must never have that confrontational way. So that is really the advice. The advice is it has to start with you, but it has to be a constant work in progress. And you have to be lenient on yourself too. Because when we make mistakes, like the prodigal son who left and went out there and enjoyed everything and then came back, what happened? When he came back, he returned to the Father. What happened? The Father embraced him more than he did his own son, the one who stayed with him. So in the same way, when we go out there, we have to know that we are liable to make errors, we are liable to make mistakes, but we have to feel that mistake and return to the source. Because when we said yes to this avatar, we cannot be like everybody else. We have made a decision to be different.
Madam President, thank you so much for the sharing and taking the time to be with us this evening. And our viewers, we hope and we pray that we have all been inspired. And if there's anything that has resonated with our viewers and you can take that and integrate it with your daily life, the purpose of this Unite and Inspire series would have been fulfilled. Once again, we express gratitude and appreciation to Mrs. Vinti Mohip, President of the Sri Satya Sai Baba Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. We thank all of you all for taking the time to join us. Continue to be His loving instruments. Jai Sai Ram.